Soul compatibility. Can you edit the wrong child? Welcome back to School of Soul. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Designer Baby series. Let's end this arc with the question no lab wants to ask and no parent wants to answer. What if you picked the wrong child? What if the embryo you selected, based on health, IQ, appearance, or behavioral predictions, was not the one that matched your soul contract? What if, in editing for perfection, you disconnected from alignment? Because even if you believe in the power of technology, even if you trust science, even if you've bought into gene editing, embryo selection, and IVF upgrades, there's a deeper layer no microscope can measure, and that's soul compatibility. The truth is, not every soul is meant to come through every body. Not every child is meant for every parent. There is a divine choreography at play beneath conception. Souls incarnate based on vibration, mission, karma, and lineage. And when we override biology with preference, when we discard embryos based on projected traits, we're not just curating genetics. We're filtering spirits. So let's say you create 8 embryos. You discard 3 for high risk of disease. You discard 2 for low projected IQ. You discard another for being the least promising in terms of height or cognitive resilience. You implant the top scorer, the genetically optimized candidate. But what if the soul meant to enter your family was attached to one of the others? What if the spirit assigned to your bloodline was bound to the embryo you threw away? We've been told that embryos are just clusters of cells, that they're interchangeable. That soul arrives later. But that's not what ancient wisdom teaches. That's not what mystics, midwives, or indigenous traditions say. They say the soul hovers, observes, waits. That the moment of conception is a negotiation point, a sacred yes. And if the conditions don't match the contract, the soul doesn't come through. What happens then? Sometimes, a different soul enters. One that wasn't meant for you. One that's karmically incompatible. You raise them, but something feels off. The bond is strained. The child struggles in ways the testing never predicted. They carry behavioral volatility, spiritual dissonance, or emotional detachment, not because of trauma, but because they weren't aligned with your field. You picked a match based on data, not destiny. And in some cases, no soul enters at all. The body forms. The child is born. But they feel blank, disconnected, spiritually absent. You sense it. You don't want to admit it. But they feel more like a program than a person. The lights are on, but no one's home. This is the unspoken fear in the designer baby movement, that in chasing the perfect human, we'll lose the human entirely. Because soul doesn't care about IQ. Soul doesn't care about symmetry, muscle mass, or SAT scores. Soul comes for a mission, for growth, for love. And sometimes the flawed embryo is the doorway. The one with risk for ADHD or mood disorder might carry the soul of a future visionary. The one marked for low achievement might be the peacemaker your family needs. The one rejected for imperfection might have held the exact frequency of healing your lineage was asking for. But they weren't chosen. They didn't make the cut. And the child who was chosen may never feel at home, may never fully bond, may spend their life sensing they were not meant to be here, at least not with you. And that's not the child's fault. That's not your fault. That's the consequence of treating biology like architecture and conception like a checklist. People don't want to talk about this because it sounds harsh, uncomfortable, but it's already happening. Parents privately admit that their genetically ideal child is cold, unempathetic, or unreachable. Children say they've always felt out of place, that they landed wrong. Therapists report a rise in identity confusion, rootlessness, and soul-level depression, especially in children conceived under technological control. And it's not because these kids are bad. It's because the blueprint was altered, but the contract wasn't. Because souls don't pick genes. They pick resonance, vibration, purpose. And if you edit the vessel without consulting the mission, you can misfire. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a choice. You can keep using the tools. You can screen embryos. You can reduce suffering. But you must invite soul into the process. You must treat selection as ceremony, not shopping. You must ask, who is meant to come through me? Not just, what traits do I want? You must co-create with spirit, not override it with science. This means slowing down, listening, praying, feeling. This means acknowledging that just because you can pick doesn't mean you should. That just because something is low risk doesn't mean it's high alignment. That just because a child scores high on projected intelligence doesn't mean they'll bring harmony to your home or to the world. There are things no algorithm can predict. Soul contract, energy resonance, karma, spiritual timing. And when you forget those things, you don't just miss a match. You invite distortion. This is not about fear. This is about reverence. Reverence for the unseen side of life. Because yes, science can reduce disease. Yes, it can increase lifespan. Yes, it can correct deformities. But it cannot measure love, or destiny, or soul coding. That's your job. That's your listening. That's your prayer. So before you choose a child based on charts, ask yourself, am I inviting a life? Or am I assembling one? Am I open to who is meant to come? Or am I trying to control what arrives? Because the greatest miracle is not editing a child. It's meeting the one who was already meant for you, the one who chose you, before the data, before the score, before the lab. And that child, when welcomed in alignment, brings something no machine can replicate. Wholeness. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing. And no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future. Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems. The behavioral economy now governs access. 4. Hive Mind. Synthetic telepathy and collective algorithmic control. 5. Nanobots inside you. Medical, military, and programmable intrusions. 6. Grief Tech. AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading your mind, consciousness transfer, and data-based identity. 8. Deep fakes plus AI clones, the replication of reality and identity theft. 9. Quantum humans, the merger of biology with quantum systems. 10. Digital afterlife, where your data goes when you die. 11. Resurrection science, reviving life through synthetic methods. 12. Immortal science, the end of death as we know it. 13. Longevity science, gene editing, anti-aging, and bio-upgrades. 14. Designer babies, engineered perfection before birth. 15. Artificial wombs, birth decoupled from the female body. 16. 3D printing, printing organs, limbs, and even humans. 17. The humanoid era, the rise of synthetic beings among us. 18. Legacy humans, the slow phase-out of unmodified analog people. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.